Friends, Greg Newmaster coming at you again with another action figure review. Today I have Mcfarlane Collector's Edition Superman 1978, the movie, the Christopher Reeve version. If you like the video, please like and subscribe and help me to build my channel. God bless you all. So this is my second take because I ran out of space on my camera. So that's all right, because I babbled a lot in the first one, and I'm going to make this one much quicker. Superman, the movie, one of the most iconic superhero movies of all time, severely impacted me as a child. It was the first movie that took superheroes seriously, where people respected it and said, like, this works, and it made you believe that a man could fly. Directed by the awesome Richard Donner, well acted by, of course, Christopher Reeve, the icon, probably the only true Superman to many people. He embodied the character better than anybody. He set the tone for his optimism and hope and truth, justice, and the American way, which is the ideals and the values of Superman. He is the truest piece of Americana, and he's a figure of hope and love and for everybody. So Christopher Reeve beautifully emboldened those qualities. He showed everybody, that's who Superman is, and he set the standard from henceforth. Now, there's been great Supermen who have come since then. I loved Henry Cavill's Superman. He looked better than anyone. He looked like Superman right out of the comics. However, he was missing the idealism, the optimism, and the hope. I even like Dean Cain. I love Dean Cain from Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. I love Tom Welling on Smallville. Tyler Hoechlin's done a pretty good job, and now we're going to have David Corenswet, who, I got to be honest, I've only seen him in two things. I've seen him in Twisters, and I've seen him in the Maxine franchise, the X franchise, the horror movies, and he was okay, but I'm going to give him a chance for the new Superman movies. I gotta say, though, I'm not a fan of the new costume. Even though it looks like the classic one in terms of color and having the trunks, the baggy look, just don't like it, don't like the lines, don't like the high turtleneck. As a callback to the New 52 Superman, I think the New 52 is a very dark time for DC fans, just retconning so many different things and not always in a good way. So, James Gunn is going to have to do a really good job with this movie to make it work and to make people believe that this is the right direction. Because Henry Cavill is big shoes to fill, and even more, Christopher Reeve are the biggest shoes to fill in terms of being somebody who can have those characteristics of hope and truth and justice in the American way. So we'll see. We'll see how he does. I'm going to give him a chance, and I hope it's good. Back to Christopher Reeve, back to Superman the movie. Like I said, one of the best superhero movies of all time. It set the standard. It kicked the doors wide open to have superhero movies taken seriously. Well directed, well acted by Christopher Reeve. Marlon Brando. I gotta say a quick word on Marlon Brando. He phoned in this movie. He read off of cue cards. He had such poor behavior that Christopher Reeve complained about him on Johnny Carson talk shows and things like that. But it's such a testament to his acting abilities that even him phoning it in was one of his most iconic performances as Jor-El. To listen to him say those monologues to Kal-El and the son becomes the father, and the father becomes the son. Like, that's like biblical dialogue. It's so good, and it's so well delivered that you gotta hand it to Marlon Brando, even though he was phoning in his performance for Jarrell and really upset Christopher Reeve. Of course, we had Margot Kidder as Lois Lane, iconic, and then we had Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. So, huge fan of the original Superman movie. It is burned in my heart forever in the most positive sense. So, onto the Mcfarlane toy. I had to get this figure, but I am not a fan of the Mcfarlane toys. I think they're too big in scale, and they're really cheap looking. And we'll get into that. But it's Christopher Reeve, and I had to get this figure. So let's kick off this review. I babbled enough. So because this is my second take, I already took everything out of the box. But to highlight the box, you get that great picture. I am going to cut this out, and I'm going to hang it up on my wall because that is just so awesome. Such a great picture and image of Christopher Reeve as Superman, and this is going to fall over, so I'm going to turn it this way. You get a trading card of that image as well. So you can hang that up or keep it. There's a little bio on the back. You also get a stand, and the stand works. So there's a little port there for the heel, and then just so you guys can see, it's on a ratchet there, a ratchet joint, and you can just throw the leg in there, and you can put him in the flying pose, and pretty sturdy stand. He's not going to fall over. I have a drafting desk, and it's angled down a little bit. I have to adjust it so it's flat, but this would fall over if I put it forward. So you get a really nice stand. Has DC logo there. All right, on to the sculpt. Excuse me. This is a beautiful sculpt. They got the proportions right. They got Christopher Reeve's body right. He has the nice long legs, the smaller torso, the long, lanky look. Christopher Reeve is a skinny guy, and he's tall. He's about 6'3". He put on about 20 pounds to 30 pounds of muscle. I'm pretty sure it was 20 pounds of muscle. He was trained by David Prowse, Darth Vader. But even with the additional weight, he still didn't look very big in the suit, even though he looked more muscular. So he's always been a long and slender looking guy. Once again, this is a pro of Henry Cavill. Like, he just looked like a jacked monster. He looked like a Superman in the best way possible. Where Christopher Reeve looked like a Broadway actor, which is what he was. But that's why he was such a good actor. What else? There's really wonderful detail on here. Like, look at the lines on the boots. That looks fantastic. It's really hard to get over just the cheapness and the clunkiness of the articulation. Like, these butterfly joints, like, these are appalling. Like, look at that. I could just move that with my thumb, and it just looks so cheap. Onto the articulation, you get double joints in the waist here and in the diaphragm. If it were me, I would have done what NECA did and just got rid of this diaphragm joint, because there's hardly any crunch in there anyhow. So the ball joint in the trunks was sufficient. I love butterfly joints, but these look just terrible. Like, look at that. There's gappage. It just, look at it, it like rotates in a weird way. You can see it like moving up. That's what he looks like from behind. The cape has the yellow shield, which is a huge plus. It also has a really thick wire, which is nice. I like the material. It's jersey material, like football or a hockey jersey. So it's really good looking. Now the highest, the shield looks good too. It's actually sticks out a little bit, even though the shield on the costume was like sewn in. So that's not correct technically, but who cares? The real selling point of this figure is the head sculpt. So, seeing it in person, you're like, wow, that is really good. Like the detail in the hair, there's shading in the face, the eyes look good, the eyebrows look good. I mean, they knocked it out of the park with this head sculpt, which was enough for me to get it. And here is the Mezco head sculpt, if you want to compare the two. I'm really curious in the comments, what do you guys like better? Do you like the Mezco head sculpt or do you like the Mcfarlane? I gotta say, like the Mcfarlane almost looks a little bit better than the Mezco version. Really good head sculpt. And the Mcfarlane got the proportions right. It looks like Christopher Reeve's body. Gotta say, I don't like the wrist articulation. They do this weird joint, and then they always put these two little ridges at the edge of the sleeve. So not a fan of that. You also get the alternate evil Superman head sculpt from Superman 3. At first I was wondering if this is when he goes into the pool with a kryptonite around his neck and he's drowning. And I thought it would be that head sculpt, but it's not. He has an angry face and it looks like the evil Superman. So you get that head sculpt. You also get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of hands. You get him holding the crystal from the Fortress of Solitude. You get him pointing. You have a pointer finger. The level of detail is really nice on the hands. You get a pair of open hands, which are nice. You also get a pair of flat flying hands, which are nice looking. And then you get a pair of grabby hands. And then, of course, the figure comes with fisted hands. Onto the articulation, he's on a double barbell. There's 2 points of articulation in the torso, which I already mentioned. Get rid of this because it looks cheap and it just looks so cheap and it's unnecessary for realism. The butterfly joints are appalling, in my opinion. The arms go up this high. You get double jointed elbows. Oh my goodness, that is so ugly. Look at how ugly that looks. That looks just so fake and toy-like, and that's an embarrassment. Mcfarlane, you can do way better than that. Like, that just looks so ugly. I love double jointed elbows, but if it's going to look like that, might as well not even do it. You get full rotation in the wrist. You have these weird ball joints at the end of the wrist. I don't like that. That looks clunky. What else? He could do a full straddle. He could do a full... Oh, his leg goes up that high. The trunks are that soft, rubbery plastic material. You get double jointed knees, which is nice, I guess, but it doesn't look very good. Nice articulation. You get the ankle pivot and hinge. And there's even a little bit of toe articulation, which is kind of unnecessary, but I appreciate it. And then the cape. The cape is nice, but these wires are actually a little bit too thick. You have to play around with that to get a good look for it. Overall, it looks really good. I mean, the head sculpt alone and the proportions on the body look great. Here it is, once again, compared to Mezco. Like, Mezco gave him, like, stumpy little legs, and it's like a cookie cutter version of the torso. So, actually, in a lot of ways, the Mcfarlane version looks better than the Mezco. I don't have the NECA version, so anybody who has the NECA version, please chime in. It's very expensive, and I missed out on it years ago when it came out. What do you like best? Do you like the NECA, the Mezco, or the Mcfarlane? I imagine the NECA looks very good. But in terms of proportion and face sculpt, this is almost as good as this like high quality Mezco figure, the 112 Collective. So if you are a Christopher Reeve fan, I highly recommend this figure. Here he is compared to the Mayfex. I don't like the scale of these figures. They're too big. Too big in my opinion. I like 6 inches or smaller. And then if they're figures like Star Wars that have a play set, they got to be even smaller than that, in my opinion. So this is like 7 inches. So that's why I don't collect the line. They're just too big. So anyhow, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Highly recommend this collector's edition McFarlane Christopher Reeve Superman. God bless you all and peace.